Good evening, and today some back-to-back videos, of course, and thereafter this video is also about some most of the important portions that we talk about in daily life, and that is about the main parlance of religion. Because after variedness of what I have taught already regarding the fact that how the social institutions generally impact upon our socialization, and mainly for being a part of women as into the into the development of patriarchy, or maybe in cases of being a marginalized person or a subaltern person to that of the remunerative situation. So thereafter, religion do shape the very basis of gendered biasness. Now, there are different religion and there are different religious countries that we all know about who actually alter upon the various veils over women. But we need to know first a few things, that what is religion all about. Religion is all about the values, the morals, the prayers, the sects, SECTS sects, as well as the posture, your position of prayer, your surrenderance to the God, your psychological surrenderance, as well as your organization. That is the source of income for many of the people. We need to know that religion is a source of income for many of the people. Priest, pope, starting from anyone who is into the organization of doing the religious work, starting from people giving flowers, giving lighting, giving the charismatic aura to any kind of religious robustness are talked about into religion. Now, it's very, very important that how it creates a gender bias. For instance, you see, the first thing when we say what is religion, we also need to know that what is not religion. Religion is not something that talks about superficialness. It not talks about monotheism. It does not talk about the origin of the earth, and it does not control the behavior of the believers. This is very, very important. We always need to know the very important fact that this Hinduism, the caste system, which is basically very unique to Hindu society, but it does not talk about how you have to behave, and it does not control your behavior. It should not control your behavior. On the other hand, if you see the Muslim religion, the Shariat rule, if you talk about, it does not talk about that you have to be always being veiled. It's all about your comfortability. It's the Shia Sunni, there is various jatis among religion, though Varna system is only unique to Indian society, but jatis are related to various society. Like even in Christian also there is Protestant and Catholic, and thereafter there is always a kind of baptism that goes on. Like for example, when B.R. Ambedkar talked about the downtrodden situation, and Gandhiji talked about the Panchamas, the untouchables used to be the Harijan, the son, the people of Hari, or the children of Hari, Lord Hari. Hari means Krishna. Ambedkar, being into the downtrodden section and good at studies, of course, he took the title of his master, his literary guru, and he gave his title to Ambedkar, and thus Ambedkar is a Brahmin title. And taking that advantage of the title, though he took around education, he became into the touchable groups, and he could actually, being the constitution, the father of the constitution, thereafter he took about the reservation for his own thing. So if people marginalize this as a political gamut, then you can say this is a political gamut. But this is also a fact that what deprivation he has enunciated and he has gained into his own life, he tried to rob them off from the people who are already in their sections, who are not into the title of the fact that he was privileged to get enough. So he said that it's very good to get annihilated from the caste system, and thereafter he actually given the provocation for baptizing themselves into Buddhism. And Buddhism, why? Because it talks about salvation. But if you see Lord Buddha, and if you see when he went to the Buddhism, he left his wife and child behind and went for salvation. Now, if you count that as a counterpart of today's contemporary society, where if I think that I will abandon my child and I'll go away for salvation, thereafter it will be some kind of a penalty for a person. So what is law previously? Like sati used to be a law previously, now it is something which is illegal in nature. So law and its legality gets changed with the legislation, with the judiciary into power, with the amendments that come up. So that's what religion is all about. If you see the four protagonists of religion, then the first protagonist would be the who should be the first protagonist? Emile Durkheim, of course, yes. Emile Durkheim, who talked about the functionalist view of religion. He talked about how Australian Aborigines or the tribes, Arunto, they used to worship any inanimate object like a piece of wood or a piece of stone, for that matter, and they worshipped together, and they had a collective consciousness among themselves and interdependence on each other. This is why, because he talked about during the time of French Revolution, there were various industrial revolution going on, and Western society was totally fragmented, and you will be very astonished to know about the fact that there are people like Mandelbaum, Baby Bali. They used to came to India to see how village in Indian society having certain serenity, certain tranquility, certain good serene culture, because we all had caste system and we never had division of labor into the concluding part of the contest, because we all know what is our occupation. Division of labor, according to Manusmriti, created the occupation for each and every one, and thereafter no one is to run after, and there was no rat race thereafter. So that period of time when Western society was totally fragmented, we had a very serene society, tranquil society thereafter. So Western sociologists like Mandelbaum, they were very keen to know about the caste system of Indian Hindu society. And then again, when we talk about Emile Durkheim, his concept of elementary form of religious life of Arunto, and we see that even I, being Brahmin, Bharadaj Gotra, I worship Narayan, Lord Narayan, the Shalogram Shila, which is our oldest form of God, and we all know the marriage in the Hindu system, we use that as a totem, I'm getting disturbed by this kind of manipulation, because whenever I try to do something good for my student, my son gives me a role stain. Yeah, this is also a fact of feminism, which I missed out in the last video, that yes, as a woman, I feel role strain, I feel role conflict, because I think that whether I'm a good teacher, whether I'm a good reciprocator, whether I'm a good mother, because that makes me feel, because when I talk, he shouts at the back. And that's the reason there is a platform where I used to be a soft skill trainer, but I had to leave that, because whenever I tried to communicate with my students, he had a background music right there. That's it. Now he will be stopped after I'll just go out of this room and I'll just hug him. He will stop everything off. He will start kissing me, and then everything is over. He's gone with his bike. He's just not even 3 years old. This is the manipulation going on, you see. So religion is that sort. Now coming to religion bias of various women on the gender part. If you take about Hindu religion for that matter, the hierarchy of Hindu religion, whether we're going to the dominant, I'm not going to the dominant caste or Sanskarization as far as Iman Srinivas is concerned. If I go to the neater thing, the Brahmin widow have much more rules and regulations to follow than that of the people who are from the lower caste, because lower caste have much more liberalism towards the consequences of various policies that are there in the society. And thereafter we need to know this fact very clearly, that it is not always that being into the hierarchy you're in a very privileged position. You're also into very kind of a position where you have to maintain the hierarchy of also the filth of what is called the manipulation of your customs and ideals. Now, when I was in my college, I was being called De Rosen because I was from Presidency College, and there was a professor, and he's a very veterinary professor. When I touched his feet, he said, so I came from long way from train, bus, and so forth. And though this is the ideal that your elderly people, you should always touch their feet, but do you think that this is very rational in nature? Because you're touching the feet means you're gaining some pollution into your hand. Might with that hand you will be touching your faces and it will create pimples on your faces. So see, the ideals sometimes, which are preoccupied notions on your facts, are not always the basis of your nature towards the subordination that you're making the manipulation towards. So thereafter, religion, like veil, we also in Hindu system also we had veil. But what about burqa? In the burqa system, sometimes the people there are women who actually prefer burqa because they think that that is their traditional attire, and that creates their religious their religious tranquility and their religious hierarchy thereafter. Sometimes I feel that wearing thread, like we women used to also have thread ceremony, but after we started doing intercaste marriages, interreligious marriages, thereafter we removed from the part of having the thread ceremony, because our gotrantar hota hai, jo gotrantar we get, like I was Bharadwaj when I was not married, I went into Kashyap Gotra, but now if I get divorced, then in that case I will begin back to Bharadwaj Gotra. But I think if that's my ascriptive status by birth, by hereditary, if I'm Bharadwaj Gotra, then I'm Gotra. So see, this is everything that we label upon each other, right? So thereafter, this kind of egalitarianism was set up by the functionalists. Functionalists like Emile Durkheim and Max Weber always talked about that religion is something which is adaptive in nature. And Freud also talked about the psychological surrenders. Like, for example, I'm going for an exam, and I think that, there is some omnipresent, there is some omnipower that is protecting me. And God, you help me gaining score 90%. Maybe I scored 89, but God, anyway, you just took 1 mark from me, or maybe I scored 92%, you have given me 2 more marks. Oh my God, you should have a laddu in your mouth. Laddu futa? Yes, laddu futa. So that kind of thing, So that's how religion doesn't always provide you with a marginalization over always having a right over each other, over the fact that your food habits, or over the fact that your purity and pollution. We always know that the menstruating women are not allowed to get into the to the mandirs as well as masjid, or wherever the God is residing upon. But what about God who is residing within me when I'm pregnant? I'm bearing a child, and the child itself is a God. So if every connotation and interpretative understanding we talk about, if verstigen, that's for matter we talk about, it always contradictory, and that's the reason why social science is never having an universal conclusion. That's the reason why it's different from natural science. So this is what the religion I left out talking about into the gender biasness, because there are a lot of religion who has a lot of gender biases on the fact of being a woman. Like जो तीन तलाक के बारे में हम बात करते हैं, तलाक. Sometimes it is, if you are if you are kind of believing or giving a witness to something which is omnipresent and omnipowerful while accepting someone, then how can any contract break your marriage? Same goes for Hindu as well, because we do yagga jo hota hai, hum yagga karte hain, we keep Narayan as our powerful person, the totem, as well as we do Agni Sakshi, Saat Fere. So agar ye sari cheezein, there's a whole natural phenomenon, all the environment that we keep witness of our marriage, then how marriage can be dissoluble? It cannot be. It is irreversible. It is indissoluble, and that we need to understand about the fact. So in that case, how marriage can be dissoluble? How can it be a contract, and how can it be getting divorced over a paper? Because then where it comes to be a contract, and therefore the marriage is also a constitutional, the social, institutional constitution thereafter. So anything you see, if you talk about Marx thereafter, then again he talks about religion, that men created religion, now it became the opium of masses, and thereafter the religion is now dominating men through various processes of creating rights and minorities and creating so very derivations and deviations among food habits, among Puritan pollution, among divisions of labor, about the facts of racism on the basis of religious apartheid. There is also one word called religious apartheid, so that how religion is also a part of women bias and women curbing their empowerment together, as if empowerment is not our choice, it's our compulsion. See, a man is not born with the choice to get literated, but when a woman gets literated, she is empowered. This is not should be the point, because literacy is our right to education that has been given by our constitution now. So we need to understand that a literate woman, a working woman, is not empowered. It is her choice. I can also be choosing an occupation to be a housewife. I would love to decorate my room. I would love to take care of my child, my parents, and everything that's there. I would love to take care of my this thing. What is this? Showcase almari, because I would love to decorate my house with guitar, though I can't play a single string. But thereafter, that doesn't mean that I have to work to show that I'm empowered. So empowerment should be our choice and not our compulsion. So literacy doesn't come, because there was a professor where I presented this paper, and she said that, don't you think that all this movement were actually taking place to give position? Yes, of course I do support the woman. I do support those movements which today gave me this platform to be so very vehement in speaking up all this matter and to voice all my aggression. But thereafter, I don't support the fact that empowerment is something that is keeping us from liberating ourselves from minority section, because empowerment is our right and not our choice. It's our right, it's not our choice. We are not veiled with choice that we need to be studying, we need to be working to get empowered. It's our choice to be empowered and not our compulsion. That's all about the religion, about the compulsion, about the gender part that I left into the last video, and I hope this video will make it more clearer for the people who always talk about patriarchy to be blamed for creating a domination over women. But women, they are also a particular parlance who are actually asking that ami nari, ami shop pari othocho ami obola, means I am a woman, I can do everything. Apart from that, I'm a victim. Don't play a victim, rather you voice your aggression, you voice your grievance, and you play the role of a triumph and not that of a particular victim. That's all. So if you are a minority, be an elite minority and not a minority to be marginalized upon. Don't call yourself to be subaltern. Don't call your voice to be submerged. Because if you submerge your voice by asking your reservation, you're submerging your position to risk upon your decision to have a special privilege. And when a special privilege is given, you're always a minority thereafter. Thank you so much. Signing off, Srija Chakraborty. Thereafter, patriarchy, gender, as well as women, emancipation, empowerment into action. Thank you.